17 kilometers left to race. First time up the Mur de Bretagne, and Van der Poel attacks. 1.2 kilometers to go. Nairo Quintana attacks. Van der Poel accelerates across to him. 1 kilometer to go. Sonny Colbrelli attacks. And Van der Poel goes with him. 800 meters left to race. They're about to be caught. And Van der Poel goes again. This time he stays clear to the finish, winning by a handful of seconds and picking up enough bonus seconds to move into the yellow jersey. How the heck did he do that? What can we take away and apply to our own performances? There's a lot to unpack here, so let's jump right in. Everyone has a finite amount of explosive efforts they can make on a given day. Of course, not all cyclists are created equal, and in stage 2 of the 2021 Tour de France, Mathieu Van der Poel showed just how unequal he is, making 4 significant attacks late in the race, ultimately succeeding at the biggest race in the world ahead of the fastest riders in the world, all trying to be on their best form. That's crazy. But let's take a closer look at what he did and see what we can take away. The backstory, in case you hadn't heard, is that his late grandfather, Raymond Poulidor, famously finished on the final podium of the Tour de France on 8 occasions, 3 second places, 5 third places, but never led the race or wore the famed yellow jersey. Van der Poel was very close to his grandfather and made it clear before this Tour de France started that his primary goal was to wear the yellow jersey in honor of his late grandfather. Stage 1 came and went, but Van der Poel didn't have the legs, so we came into stage 2 with an 18-second deficit. So it was a real long shot to try to get into the leader's jersey. But fast forward to this first attack he made with 17 kilometers left to race. It was the first ascent up the Mur de Bretagne. It looked like he was going for the finish from a long way out. He had a gap, but it started to come down. He eventually was reeled in, but not before he got to the top first. So he did get over the top first, cleverly picking up 8 bonus seconds by winning the climb. Was then swept up back in the group. Looked like he might have showed his hand a little too early, but turns out it was actually all part of his plan, because coming up to the Mur de Bretagne, the second time, which is the final time, we see here at 1.2 kilometers to go, he went with no less than 2 scintillating attacks from world-class athletes in their own right, Nairo Quintana and then Sonny Colbrelli, before unbelievably going again on his own. So granted, he's doing a little bit less work by following their wheels on their initial attacks, but it's an uphill and there's not as much wind. To go again is unbelievable. I mean, he left the entire race in his wake, if you will. And yeah, he held it to the line. Maybe at the point where he went at Pogacar and Roglic were satisfied to just mark each other. However, after the stage, Pogacar himself said that if he could have gone that last time, he would have. He said that he couldn't. Either way, he held the gap that he had this time all the way to the finish line. Got enough time, got the bonus seconds at the finish as well. Moves into the yellow jersey. Pretty inspiring stuff. I mean, I don't know how you do that at that level, but that's why we watch this stuff. Inspiring stuff. So what can we learn about his performance and apply to our own performances? The first major key is that he made a lot of explosive attacks and still had enough in his legs to stay clear to take the win. Even on a regional racing level, you can see the same tactics play out. The best racers are able to attack several times, and eventually the strongest riders are able to keep going and get in that good breakaway, keep pushing once they're in the breakaway. So it's not really much of a coincidence when these super strong local and regional national guys keep staying away and winning these races. And that's kind of what Van der Poel did here. Is exactly what he did here. Showed just how much he can carry and have in his tank. So what can we do to apply that to our own training? Is there anything we can do to have more of these explosive attacks? Yes, actually, there definitely is through training. The key here would be big volume. Specifically, you need to be able to do a lot of high intensity. And really the best way to be able to do a lot of high intensity on a given day is you do need to have a big volume of like a kind of a structure of, a good working heart, lung capacity, capillary density, mitochondrial density, all that kind of structural stuff that comes with big miles, just a lot of volume, hours on the bike. That you kind of need that as a foundation. And from there, that's when you can start doing just a lot of high intensity on your training rides. I'd say probably 2 to 3 days a week you'd want to be doing high intensity, and maybe another couple days of just long distance when you're in the middle of the season, depending how you want to do it. But the key there is just to be able to do a lot of high intensity, explosive type efforts, and it will make a difference. Apart from that, when it comes to tactics, you got to be able to pick your battles, pick the right point to go. And in this case here in the race, we saw that the other riders kind of only had one bullet in the chamber. Colbrelli and Quintana and Formulo. Unfortunately, that was all they had. But Van der Poel had many and was able to keep going. So kudos to him. Kudos to everybody else out there. Call it inspiration. Go out there, be your own Van der Poel. Do as many explosive efforts as you can on your hard days. You don't want to do that every day. You don't want to burn yourself out. Good luck. Keep riding and keep enjoying the Tour de France. I sure am. All right, till next time. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.